emission due to the electricity that heat pumps might consume today if they are plugged into the electricity grid. As you can see on the map here, the green countries are the countries for which it is more advantageous from a CO2 emissions perspective to run a heat pumps with the electricity from the grid than to run the most efficient condensing gas boilers you can find in this country. In China, for example, the CO2 savings from heat pumps today would amount to about 20%, but this share could go higher for other countries which have a more decarbonized electricity mix, such as, for example, European countries, France, who's relying on nuclear production at 75% today, or Canada, that is relying mostly on hydropower and other renewable energy sources. In the stated policy scenarios that account for only policies that are currently in place, we can see that this share of 90% of space heating needs that could be met by heat pumps with a lower emissions footprint than a condensing gas boiler is actually increasing, with only a couple of countries for which it would still be less emissions intensive to run a gas boiler. And of course, in the sustainable development scenario and the net zero emissions by 2050 scenario, as the electricity grid decarbonizes, heat pumps become a fully renewable heating equipment if they are run, for example, on PV that could be on site of the buildings. Another trend we looked at to elaborate our strategy was the growth of cooling demand. Here you can have a picture of the average number of units per household. Each dot represents a country, and you can see it evolving over the years from 2020 to 2070. The size of the bubble is proportional to the total stock of air conditioners, and the color of the bubbles are related to the heating and cooling the heating degree day index, which is an indicator for climate. So the more it's red, the more the country is typically hot and humid. And you can see that the number of units per household is actually soaring over the next couple of years due to increased income per capita, especially in countries that are hot and humid today. The stock of air conditioners might actually triple by 2050, which raises concerns regarding the emissions related to the electricity use for such technologies, but which is also an opportunity for heat pumps to align heating and decarbonization strategies, as the deployment of air conditioners could also benefit the heating market. Most heat pumps today that are sold are reversible, so the growth of cooling demand could actually benefit heating if those units sold are reversible, because they could provide both needs and they would be a very good substitute for conventional electric or conventional fossil fuel alternatives. There is also an opportunity for knowledge transfer between cooling and heating applications, as the growth of air conditioners will generate economies of scale, which could also benefit the heating market, and heat pumps may gain additional market shares based on these new economies of scale.